Here.
Okay. Yo, top of the morning. What's up, everybody? It's Tshidi here. You guys have asked it. We went through a little poll that we ran, and one of the things that we wanted to find out from you guys was when is it the best time to do something like this? So we thought it might be the best time to actually just try and reach out to all of you guys and say, guys, this is the time that everybody has asked. They said, around 6 p.m., a bit later, everybody's ready to actually jump in. So if you are there, if you're out there waiting for us, we're just about to get back onto the call in the next 2 minutes. So please just hang in there. It's going to be awesome. My panel is already part of the discussion, so it's going to be absolutely awesome. So just hang in there for now. Hello, everybody. Kia, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Woo-hoo. Oh, this is Nombu. Somehow you are frozen. That's not good. That is not good at all. How are you, everybody? How are you doing, Kia?
I'm good. I'm
How are the
great.
nerves? How are the nerves?
I'm well. I'm great. No, I'm not nervous at all.
No, that's awesome. Nombu, can you hear us, my friend? Nombu, are you there?
I can see Nombu, but
Yeah, shame. She seems to be a bit frozen. Technical difficulties, guys. We're working on it soon. We'll just make sure that she can hear us. Just hang in there for a few seconds. I just need to try and get hold of Nombu and see what's happening, because I think it's the internet issues that are failing us at the moment. I'm just gonna put us on mute so that we don't make too much noise. So Nombu, we're having some technical difficulties. She's gonna jump back into the call so that we can finally get to do this and answer all the questions that people have been asking. And this is actually absolutely awesome. So I'm excited because Nombu is the one that's gonna be addressing, why we're doing this today. So I hope that Kia is ready to to be on the firing line, because that's going to be the exciting part. It's going to be one of those where at least we get to see, how we all deal with these things from a recruitment point of view. So it's going to be awesome. So I don't know if Nombu is back. I'm just going to add her again to the stream because she seems to still be frozen. So I just hope that, it doesn't give us problems, because it's been fine this whole week. We've tested it a few times. We made sure that it actually works perfectly. So, so I hope it's not a problem today. I'm going to try and change my color for my lights because I feel like I'm too flat, if that's the right word. So yeah, man, let's do this. It's going to be awesome. But anyway, I think while we still here, it might be maybe a very good idea to just get Kia to sort of introduce herself. Who's Kia? Why is she agreeing to be a victim in this day to day? While other people are saying, no, I don't want to do it. Why would you want to allow yourself to go through this? And I'm glad that Victor Kadimeng is already saying, jump in, or somebody from LinkedIn says, Victor, jump in. This is going to promise to be very good. I hope you guys have got your popcorn ready because, it's going to be fireworks. It's going to be absolutely fireworks. No, it's not going to be that bad. It's not going to be that bad. So
you're scaring me now. I was so calm.
Yeah. Okay. No. But you can do this. You know this. There's nothing that we're going to ask you that you can't answer. You're a TA. You're a talent acquisition specialist. You've been doing this for a very long time, so you know what to worry about. So I think just a quick intro. Who's Kia? Where does your career start? We'll get to other deeper questions later, but just the high level, Kia will ask the questions. Tell us a bit about yourself in the interview, because that's the one question that everybody struggles with. But just high level, who's Kia? Where can people get hold of you? Things like that.
Okay, so I'm Kia, yes, and I've been in talent acquisition for quite a while now. I think for close to 10 years. I've studied industrial relations management, and I think initially I wanted to get into an HR role, like an HR generalist role. And then I ended up being in recruitment, So I started in recruitment initially. For like a year, I was assisting a team of recruiters, and then got a 2-year administrator role. And then I think when I got that role and being in that space for 2 years, I was like, I miss recruitment because I had started there initially. Then I said to myself, listen, maybe I can go back. So my previous boss actually was like, listen, Kia, we're looking for a recruitment consultant. Come through if you're still keen. It was a nice salary as well, with nice incentives. And I told myself, let me just go back, try again and see. And literally that's where I never stopped. I never looked back. I've started with recruitment agencies, and then I've got into internal recruitment, which is, in big corporates now doing internal recruitment, being on the other side. And it's been so much fun. I've worked for very reputable companies. I've learned a lot. And I think when every time I watch your YouTube channel and just see how active you are with regards to talent acquisition, it's just so motivating. As we all know, recruitment is such a thankless job, and a lot of people just think anyone can do it, but it takes passion and dedication. And I think for me, Tshidi, I don't know if you remember, but when I was still in Smallland or JSE, I used to send you like messages to say, listen, please employ me, because I wanted to just be the team so much. I just thought, this man is so dedicated, he's so passionate. And as someone who is really into recruitment and talent acquisition space, I just thought I could learn a lot from you. And you would say to me, I'll keep in touch, or just check our career website and apply. And I'm like, this man. And then I got a call from Claudia in 2018, and I got the role. I know
Yeah.
I was reporting into you, but I thought, you know what, this is as close as I can get. And we've
Sure.
built such a nice relationship. And I love this platform because we're able to educate and just share knowledge, especially for external people that are really keen on learning and improving their skills when it comes to interviewing, etc. Because for me, you know that the first interview is a selling point, is a do or die. So you really need to kill it. Make sure that you do your ultimate best, and because that's your selling point. If you panic and just lose it, you might just lose the job, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have the skill, but just panicking and feeling like it's the just you for me, just I like the fact that we're doing this platform to just educate and motivate the calmness that comes with the first interview, and then everything else will follow. Your assessments, your checks, those are like nothing
Yeah.
once you kill the first interview.
Yeah.
And also people will remember you for that first interview, whether you get the job or not.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's fantastic. So I think just before Nombu introduces what we're trying to do today, um, just want to send a shout out to some of the guys that are in radio. They always say paying the bills. So luckily we're not getting paid for this one. So let's pay the bills. And I see there's somebody who asked Victor to come and jump in. It just says LinkedIn user, my brother or sister. Shame, man. I wanted to say your name, Leonard. Thank you for being part of this. It's always appreciated that you always join into these. Tandile, thank you so much for being part of this. Chana, I see you. I've been mentoring Chana for I think for the past year now, and I think she's ready to jump into some of these exciting things. And then there's Baintle Fati all the way from Botswana. Thank you so much for joining in and jumping into this. I think Baintle Fati also, we've got a very long history. We've gone through quite a nice journey with him with the different roles that he's actually applied for. And then we've got Matlati. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for jumping in. And then we've got Carlo that's there. Thank you so much, Carlo. We really do appreciate you being part of this conversation. And then we've got Celia. Celia, thank you so much for being part of this. We've got Maputi. Shout out to you once again. We saw you again last week when we were doing this. We see you again. We appreciate you. Keep doing this. We really do appreciate that. Then we've got Bipelo. Thank you so much, Bipelo, for being part of this. Carlo, we see you again. And then we've got Nombuso. Nombuso and I come a very long way as well. So welcome back. Shout out to you. And then we've got Matlati, we've got Michael. Thank you so much for being here. And then we've got Mukele, who's also there. We've got Douglas. Douglas, we see you. And then we've got Nomagugu. We see you as well. And then we've got Machete. So if I haven't said your name yet, guys, it's not that we don't love you enough. We just thought I should just shout out to some of the guys. But now that we're here, Nombu, why are we doing this? What's happening today? Why did we decide to do another follow-up session after the last week? I see Nombu's camera is acting up again.
No.
Yeah, so I hope she can hear me. Nombu, what's happening? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Okay, so Nombu. Yeah, Nombu's camera is I think it might be load shedding or something. So the network is not going
She's
well.
back. She's
back. Welcome back, Nombu.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were gone.
I don't even know why I'm being disconnected all the time. Like, I've been online the whole day, no problems. And now all of a sudden I'm experiencing problems. Like, what's going on? The devil is a liar. Jeez.
Yeah, the devil is a liar indeed. Yeah, so Nombu, why are we doing this today? What's happening?
I beg your pardon?
No, I'm saying, why are we doing this today? What's happening today?
Sure. Yeah, so I think Tshidi, very importantly, is we really had good feedback from the last session that we had. And I felt that it was really important to kind of put it into play, because it's one thing trying to explain something to someone and then them hearing you, but not really knowing how to play it out when they get to that interview session. So I think I felt that it was really important to then just come back and say, okay, guys, let's touch base on the questions that you asked and actually see how they actually play out in a real interview scenario. So Kia, thank you so much for agreeing to do this with us. We promise to be nice. We won't be too harsh on you. But I've got but yeah, I know I've got full faith in you. I know that you're going to kill it. And I think maybe just to encourage everyone that is watching right now, let's make this as conversational as possible. So do send us questions, or if you want to add on based on experience, if you want to add on some of the answers that Kia is going to give, please feel free to hop on and add those onto the chat box, and we'll address them. And if there's anything else that you want to kind of get out of this session, also add it on, and let's just tackle it as much as we can. We only have until 7, unfortunately, but we're going to try and really just cover as much as we can.
Awesome. Cool. So you want to start with the first question, Nombu? So guys, this is going to be virtual as it gets. Like, virtual interviews are exactly this way, because sometimes that's all we see you in Microsoft Teams. This is exactly how it's going to look like. And once again, I want to just remind everybody, what we've all chosen is very different backgrounds. So I've got an empty white wall. Kia's wall is also very simple, empty enough. There's nothing that makes you want to peek to see what's happening behind it. Nombu is the same. So when it comes to virtual interviews, guys, it's absolutely important that these are the type of backgrounds, but we will get into more detail about that a bit later. So maybe Nombu can kick us off so that we can rock this. Yeah.
Sure. So firstly, I just want to commend Kia for dressing up. That was actually one of the first questions in our last session, whether is it important or not to actually dress up for a MS Teams type of interview. So thank you for that. You really look stunning.
Yes.
And then just moving on. Sure. And then just moving on to, so I'll start with the very basic questions, and Tshidi, please feel free to just jump in whenever you want to. So Kia, can you just tell us about yourself, very high level, touch on your career experience and maybe some of your career highlights as well?
Okay, great. So I'm Kia, born and bred in Pretoria. I'm currently based in Johannesburg as I work here. I've been in talent acquisition for close to 10 years now. Very passionate about, the career space that I'm in. I'm passionate about people, changing lives, engaging, networking, learning from people and sharing knowledge. I consider myself a team player. I am loyal and reliable. I also enjoy solving problems, negotiating, and just making a difference in people's lives. So just high level, I have been in the space for close to 10 years, like I said. I've worked for recruitment agencies as well as big corporates, global companies as well. So I've been acquiring my experience from different type of companies. So I've learned a lot working with clients, and also me being a client to partners, so partnering with different people. So I've learned a lot in terms of nurturing relationships, maintaining good, solid, and trusting relationships with partners and stakeholders. So that's pretty much me. And I've studied industrial relations at the Swan University of Technology. Initially, I wanted to be in HR, but recruitment, it finds you. Nombu, you know very well. Somehow,
I do.
yeah. And with me, as much as it found me, I fell in love with it. And ever since 10 years ago, I never really looked back. I really enjoy it, and it's something that I look forward to learning from, and eventually lead a team and just be amazing.
Okay. Cool. Thank you so much
Awesome.
for that summary about your background and why you decided to get into that. And yes, recruitment does find you. And then now, so I see on your CV you sort of decided to summarize all your experiences. You've only given us a very short version of your CV, which only speaks about your current role. Why have you presented it that way?
Look, Tshidi, I think because I've been in the space for so long, the roles are very comparable. They're very similar. And I just thought, because I've been in this role for so long, right now with my current company, I just wanted to highlight the specific role and give it attention, as I feel like it's more specialized, more detailed, and it's aligned to where I'm targeting to be in the near future. So I felt like I wanted to just summarize that, my CV, and just avoid repeating what I've been doing since 2010.
And if you were to maybe break it down right now for everybody, what does your current role entail?
Sure. So being a talent acquisition specialist really entails, building relationships, identifying talent. So literally just going out headhunting, sourcing, looking for top talent to introduce to the business. And, I partner a lot with stakeholders. So those would be your HR execs, HR managers, HR business partners, hiring managers, recruitment agencies, and candidates. Because I also have to manage that relationship. So I'm involved in a lot of consulting, sitting with business, understanding their needs, their talent needs, and see where I can help, advise, educate, as a subject matter expert, what's out there, salary-wise. So I'm also involved in negotiating offers, also involved in motivating salaries for my candidates that I've presented. So yeah, it's really about relationships and negotiating and selling. So that's really in a nutshell what my role entails.
Nombu?
So yeah, I just want to add a more scenario based question. Tell us about a time you spoke about the relationships you have with your different stakeholders. So maybe if you can just tell us about a time when you had to deal with a difficult stakeholder, and what did you do to navigate around that?
Because you guys are in the space, you understand better. Most of the stakeholders are difficult. You really grow a thick skin. And for me, I've had lots and lots of situations in my past experience and currently as well. So I've had one line manager. So it's actually funny when I think about it, because I had just started, with my current company. And this person is like a very, very senior person who reports into the CEO. And when I got the role, when I sat with him for a briefing, for a consultation, I was so scared, but I had to calm myself. When he came in, he's an old man, very experienced, very smart. And just the things that he wanted from me, I felt like they were so impossible, because remember, with hiring managers, they don't really know the difference between a talent acquisition specialist and an HRBP sometimes. They would think that you, as Skia, as a talent acquisition specialist, you can do everything, from salary, from deciding salaries to changing a job title if you want to. So this specific line manager wanted to change a job title because he felt like, no, this is for me, it's not too attractive. And I mean, I have a spec, and I just felt like it doesn't work like that. You don't just say, I want a data analytics manager, for instance, and then you say, no, actually, I want to call it a data analytics executive type of thing. So I was like, it's going to be impossible for me to change that. We have to follow process. Firstly, you're going to have to sit with with the HR person and explain your needs and why you want to change this role. Also, we're going to have to speak about the salary. This is the minimum that we are willing to pay, but if you feel like it's way less, then also those are the discussions that I cannot really change from my side. Yes, I can be involved in um, assisting you, connecting you to the HRBP and sitting in those meetings. But I had to really explain what I do and what the HRBP does. And he says to me, no, I actually want to work with one person. No, I promise you. And he's like, no, I want to work with one person. I don't want a lot of things. Next thing, this one. Yeah. Next thing, blame this one. This one blames you. I literally just want to work with one person. And it was such a predicament. And I was like, I don't even know what to do. And I said to him, listen, I'm going to have to go back and check to the HRBP, see what's possible, see what's not. And then I'll come back to you. So I had to just really, make sure that I sit with the HRBP, understand if it's possible, and then go back to him. So he made it clear, and because he's so senior, he made it clear that he's not working with two people. So it was such a dilemma, and I was still new. So I was still getting myself used to, different line managers and their levels and how they work. But we managed to eventually close the role somehow with the help of the HRBP understanding what the specific line manager works like. So we're able to just make sure that I'm the person that relates whatever he's looking for, and then just copy in HRBP.
Okay. So thank you very much for that. Now, why are you looking at leaving your current job?
So I've been in this specific role for so long, and just doing the same thing. And I'm looking for a more challenging role. I'm looking into I want to get into projects. So as much as I want to remain in the talent acquisition space, I want to get into the project management of side of things. And when I looked at the role that you guys advertised, I just felt like it just ticked all the boxes. And that's basically the reason why I'm looking for more growth. I need to expand my knowledge in talent acquisition. And because I've done the sourcing, part of it, and I'm comfortable with that area, I just want to dig deeper and get into projects, more strategy, and just understanding it from the ground.
Okay. So I see you also mentioned the word growth there. What does growth look like for you?
Growth for me looks like, when right now I'm so comfortable, like I know my job, like I can do it in my sleep, and I want growth for me is when you really do something different, something that's stimulating, and you just learn to just not do the same thing over and over again. So your role is more broader, and you work with different stakeholders, not just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Hence, for me, getting into projects will really mean growing as a talent acquisition specialist.
Okay. Cool. Nombu?
Sure. I also just want to piggyback off that one. What are some of the plans that you have in place for your career and self or personal development?
So right now I am already, registered with, online courses, specifically focusing on projects. So I've started that already. And I have been in talks and discussions with one of the TA project manager in one of the teams. The plan is to ask him to, actually we are already talking. So I've asked him to give me an opportunity to shadow him. Even if it's just an hour a day, it doesn't have to be, the whole day, because obviously I have other work to do, my tasks, my daily tasks. So we had a meeting recently, and he's happy to help as soon as he's done with this major project he's busy with. So my plan is to just learn and read, and also just get a more practical knowledge from him by shadowing him and just understanding what he does on a daily.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I
All
think,
right. And
yes, no.
Go ahead, Tshidi. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. I think my question is gonna deviate a bit, so let me rather let you follow up with your question.
Okay, mine is also moving away from this topic. So I want to talk money, Gear. What does the breakdown of your cost to company look like at the moment? I mean, should you be successful for this role, is there anything that you owe, like your study loans, that you need to pay back to your current employer?
So I'm currently on a cost to company of 700,000, and that's exclusive of my bonus, my performance bonus, and we get quarterly incentives. I also get a travel allowance as well as a cell phone allowance. And yes, my current company is sponsoring my studies. So if I had to leave between now and 2022, I'd have to pay back the money that they obviously sponsored me with. So I think it's about 100,000. I will send you a payslip though to give you a salary breakdown should you guys request it.
Okay, all right. And I think to the more fun question, what are you expecting in terms of our offer?
Okay, so based on my experience, in the space, and the fact that right now I'm looking for growth, I'm looking for I'm looking to learn new things. I'd say, between 10 and 15% increase on my current cost to company. I'd be comfortable with that. But obviously, I've done my research and I understand that the specific role, well, you guys are open to negotiating, salary wise, depending on my experience and, whether I tick all the boxes with regards to this specific role. So just comfortably 10 to 15% if possible, but I'm I'm open to negotiate.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you so much about that. I think I'm going to jump into the question that Tebogang has just asked now to say, what value do you think you'll add to this team that is different to what the team has already been doing?
Great question.
Look, I think the fact that I have, I've worked for an HR and marketing global company, and I've learned a lot with regards to just selling and negotiating. I was previously a marketing consultant back then, selling products, marketing, the company and services. So I've gained quite a lot of experience around sales, business development, as well as marketing. And the fact that, I've been in this talent acquisition space for so long, and I'm very comfortable in relationship building and account management and all of that. So I will bring that in the team. And obviously, I'm also very excited that I will absorb and get information and knowledge from the team that I'll be joining should I be successful, to get like project knowledge and just so I can get to a point where I'm finally a project manager in the TA space.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. I think there's another interesting one from a LinkedIn user that says, how do you discuss salary expectations when you're currently under what the market offers? So I think maybe we're going to present it slightly differently, not necessarily in the question format, just to say, so let's assume here that you believe that you're under the salary benchmark that exists in the market. And Nombu has just finished asking you the questions about your salary expectations. How would you tackle that if you were given that opportunity to speak to the people that have asked you, what is your salary expectation? How would you tackle that?
I don't think I followed the questions. I don't want to. Yeah, can you just explain it?
Yeah. So what the candidate is trying to understand is so there are times when you go through the process and you say, okay, so I owe this much, I owe this much, I owe this much. This is how much money I think I owe the company, or this is how much money I'm currently earning at the moment. And then here comes the very difficult thing where you now want to negotiate for a different increase or for a different amount, because you're thinking, you know what, if I just leave it as my expectation is 50,000 more, I will still be below the benchmark. But you now want to motivate to say you want double the salary that you're currently earning. How would you go about, what are some of the tools that you can throw in? I think Nombu, you can also help. Like how would you make sure that the people understand that you're below the benchmark and you want double the salary?
Nombu, do you want to tackle that?
No pressure. I was actually going to throw the question back at you, but I'm gonna try answer it. But I also want to twist the question a bit to you guys. So I on my end, I would obviously do the necessary research, because I think what we generally find is people base it on the fact that my one colleague earns way more than me, but we finished school at the same time. We started working at the same time. We have the same years of experience. We do the same thing, and people base it on that. But unfortunately, sometimes your salary is different to the people that are within the same market as you, just based on the fact that we start our journeys differently, and different companies and different industries pay different salaries. So when you want to negotiate within a different industry or within your industry, you need to have knowledge of what is happening there, but you also need to be cognizant of why is it that you're behind. And this is when then you find a lot of people really starting on getting more qualifications under their belts, because we believe that the more qualified we are, the better the chances of us actually negotiating. And truth be told, organizations do want people who are most recently skilled and know what's happening in their markets, because obviously by studying you also just get to gauge more within what's happening within your industry, and you have more room to kind of leverage off. But with that said as well, when you negotiate for that, you need to almost come on the table and let your potential employer understand exactly why they must bring you on board in terms of some of your achievements. So you can't be doing average work and performing averagely and then expect that you can get to a potential employer and negotiate for a higher salary. So your CV and your experience kind of need to speak for itself, so that it's easy for you to then negotiate when that time comes. I hope I'm answering the question. What I wanted to then do with this question, and I'm going to throw it back to the both of you guys, because I receive because I normally get a lot of these questions from friends when they're trying to negotiate for their salaries. People are kind of scared to ask for too much, even though you know that essentially you want like 20,000 more than what you're currently earning from a monthly gross perspective, or a net. But it's also unrealistic to get to in front of your potential employer and say exactly that, right? But also you don't want to say, I'll take anything you can offer me, because at the same time, then what does that tell that particular person who's interviewing you about you and your brand and what you think of yourself? So it's a very tricky one. So I want to throw it back at you guys, and maybe you guys can advise on what's the best way to actually tackle that question. Because I think for guys that go through job interviews via agencies, they are better off because they have other people negotiating on their behalf. They don't have to tackle those questions. But what about the guys that go directly to those particular job interviews?
Okay. I think I can try and answer this one. So it's a nice question because now it's creating a nice little debate or a nice little, and that's the reality of what people are currently dealing with from a financial need point of view. And it ties very much closely to, there was another question that somebody also asked earlier. I'm just going to try and join them together because I want to try and answer the two questions together without leaving the one out. Where the question is, here's the question. It says, what is the one thing not to say when asked for the reason you want to leave the current role? So there's two ways. So the one thing you should never say when somebody asks you to say, why do you want to leave your current role, is to say, listen, I need more money. That's the moment you say that, that already just loses that person. They're like, oh, okay, you know what? If somebody else comes tomorrow with more money, you're gonna leave us, so we're not even gonna try. So never ever say that, even though yes, the reality is you want more money, and this is where the benchmarks conversation comes in. You want a bit more money than what you've actually have been earning, and you think based on the benchmark you should be earning a bit more. So one of the things that you can say is, I've done a bit of research in the last couple of years to try and understand where I'm peaked in line with my peers and in line with people that are in the industry. I do also understand that different industries pay differently. And with that being said, with some of the research that I've done, conversations I've had with a few agencies that have tried to headhunt me, I've always said to them that I want to leave my job based on the right career move, right? So you see, you're already saying something about the job or the career move. You're not yet jumping into the money. And that's very important that the person that's on the other side sees the value of what you want to come and join them for. So you're saying, and I think based on what the company is currently offering, what you guys are offering from the company point of view, I will be able to actually grow from a development point of view. You've had Kia speak about development and growth. So that's now you've put two things into the conversation. Then you now go to the killer and you said, I do know based on what the agencies have already informed me, or based on some of the conversations that I've had with some of the people in the industry, that my salary is a lot less than what I'm currently should be at based on my experience of 10 years. And what I'm actually hoping for is, because I don't know enough about your benefits, I don't know enough about your leave processes, I don't know enough about what your company provides. I am hoping that you will be able to, first of all, at least be able to give me a bit more than what I'm currently earning so that I can catch up with the rest of my peers. So you're not already giving me a number. You're not saying, I want double the salary. You're just saying you want to catch up with the peers, and you're hoping that we'll be able to do that. And you're also hoping that the benefits will be in line with where it will put you in the right market from a benchmark point of view. None of the conversation that you've actually had has said anything about how much money you want, what percentage you want, nothing. Please, percentages are dangerous because every time you throw in the percentage, what then happens is that it might actually be, the company might be willing to give you another 60% more, and you've given them a 50% increase. So you've given them the limitation, but if you come up with the tools that says research from reputable people, agencies have reached out to me and said, these roles offer this much, but because it wasn't in line with what I was looking for, I didn't take it. I am hoping that the role that you guys are providing will be in line with the benchmarks that are suitable for the industry that I'll be working in, because I've already spoken to a few people. That for me is one of the better ways of sort of telling people that you want a lot more money. Because when they come back and they offer you a 10% increase and you're hoping for a 40% increase, you can come back and say, it's still not in line with what I was informed I should be at based on my experience.
Yeah.
You see, you then give it back to them to go and renegotiate on your behalf. Because you're not saying, yeah, I wanted 50% more. No, you're just saying, it's still not in line with what I was informed I should be at based on my experience. Is this the best that the company can offer? Because once you say, is this the best that the company can offer, you're now leaving the ball in their courts. And if they come back and say, we'll give you another 2%, and deep down you know that it's not worth where you are, then you can walk away. But make sure that every time you get to a salary discussion and a negotiation, guys, you are ready to walk away. Don't do a salary discussion where you want actually a lot more because you feel like you know the benchmark. Don't do it with the whatever they throw at me, I'll take anyway. Be willing to walk away, because in some cases, people know that you're real about the career opportunity, but the money needs to be aligned to that. I hope that that answers part of that.
Very well, Tshidi. Thank you so much.
Thank
And I
you.
think, yeah, if I can just so ask Kia the closing question, and then I think we can then jump onto the chat and discuss a bit more of the questions that we're currently being asked. So Kia, just on my side, in closing, a last question is, why shouldn't we hire you?
um, that's a tricky
I
question.
know you
Why
why
should you
shouldn't
hire me?
you? I don't want to do that.
Well, because I think for me, I'm just gonna try and put it this way. So I've been very clear of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an opportunity to learn new things. I'm looking for a new challenge, and I'm very clear on the fact that I'm looking to expand my knowledge when it comes to talent acquisition. So if this role will will be expecting this person or myself, if I'll be successful, to implement the same work that I've done 5 to 8 years ago, then I'm not going to be the right person for the role. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tshidi, I don't know if you have anything else you want to close with on your end.
No, I think she's definitely answered all the questions. So thank you so much, Kia. What we're gonna now do is there's quite a few questions that the guys are throwing around that all three of us can just now deal with. Um, and I think, guys, the reality about some of those things is that Kia was bringing in an element where you're being interviewed for different things. Are you being thrown different questions? How do you then deal with them as they come along? And that was just to try and show you guys, to say certain answers are not necessarily, they don't necessarily have to be exactly what the other person is looking for. In every single answer that Kia gave us, there was no way where Kia was telling us what she thinks we want to hear. And that's where the difference comes in with a lot of candidates, is that some people end up telling us what they think we want to hear. And then that's when you go the opposite direction to what the question was. So try and answer what the question is. And if you don't have an answer, it's okay also to say you don't have an answer. So I'm just gonna maybe put one or two other guys that have that have asked some of these questions. So whether it's you, Nombu, or Kia, if you can maybe take this one. Nombu says, should you always negotiate the salary?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Is it important to always negotiate the salary? I know what my views are.
So I'll take that. I think, Tshidi, it depends. Hey, it depends on the reason why I'm in the market and why I want to move. There are people that leave their companies because they're just unhappy, so they're desperate. They're willing to take lateral moves, and whether some people even take pay cuts just to get out. And there are people that are happy where they are. Those are passive candidates where you headhunt and they're happy where they are. So they know what they want, and those people are actually will tell you, I want this much, take it or leave it. And then there's those realistic candidates where they understand that this is where I am, and based on my experience, this is how much I should be at. So yes, you can actually negotiate salaries depending on the reasons why you want to leave your current employer and why you want to join a certain employer, why you want to take on that role.
Okay, cool. I think that's a very nice answer. Thank you, Kia. I'm not gonna do anything. Nombu, I think maybe you want to take this one. If a candidate answered, and you say, "Why do you want to leave your current employer?" and they say, "I need to broaden my horizon," to what extent is the candidate supposed to elaborate on that one?
Sure. So from my side, you need to elaborate quite extensively, because broadening your horizon can mean different things for different people. And I say that because for someone else, broadening their horizon could mean that they want more money. They may be looking for shares, and like I think Kia or Tshidi, you've explained it already, and you explained it very nicely, that you need to almost know what your plan is with your career. If you're broadening your horizon, to what extent? How are you planning on doing it? And what is the intended end goal? So you definitely, it can't just end on you broadening your horizon, but you also need to then substantiate further on that as to what that actually means, just because it means different things for different people.
Okay.
And also, just sorry, quickly, guys, just to follow up on that, Noms, you answered beautifully, but I think when you elaborate on that reason, you also have to understand the reason why you want to leave, because if you are going to join, for instance, you join Standard Bank and you're there for a year or two and you want to leave, and then you come to FNB and then you're there for a year and then you want to leave, you join Investec, and then you keep on saying you want to broaden your horizon. What does that mean? You don't even stay at a company for a year. So what are you broadening? Because so just when you give your reason for being in the market, it really has to make sense to you and to the people that will be interviewing you, because really we see you when you are really jumping for money.
Yeah.
Cool.
And on that, very quickly, it goes back to the whole CV construction we spoke about last time, where we said if you have to have your reasons for leaving on your CV, but it also can't just be growth opportunities. I see that a lot. When people write reasons for leaving, they just write growth opportunity. But what does growth opportunity actually mean? You know what I mean? And if you're going to be changing jobs every second year and you write growth opportunity every time, I, as a potential employer, when I look at that, I'm just going to say, okay, so she's going to be here for 2 years and then she's going to leave. All right. So explain what that growth opportunity means, because it could be something that makes sense. Maybe there's a function in your particular company or experience that you'll never get because you don't specialize in that particular field, and because of your career plans, the other company may have it. Explain those kind of things so that it makes sense, and you don't want to just get disqualified from the first interview just based on the fact that you look happy.
Okay. Cool. Yep. Fantastic. And then there's Habital says, how do you deal with underperformance in your team, assuming that you're supervising the team or the people in your team? So I think maybe let me quickly jump into this one, because I also want to answer. There's another one that has come up to say, do you feel you need this job or do you want this job? Oh my goodness, Leonard. Wow. Sorry, I didn't ask you that. Okay.
Sorry, Leonard.
The first one is, in every company, there's normally performance metrics that each employer puts in place. There's normally what we consider to be good performance and bad performance. You need to be able to be clear as to what bad performance is. You would normally need to then have a conversation with your HR. First, highlight to the individual that, based on what you're expecting, this is where they've actually been delivering, and you actually expect them to be delivering at this level. And if they're still not performing at that level, then you need to actually have a conversation with your HR to then start formal conversations. So each company has got different formal processes in place. And in most cases, the idea about underperformance is that it is not always about getting rid of somebody, but it's about getting somebody to the level where they're able to perform at the level that you want them to. So together with your HR, you'll be able to put that together and assist that individual to jump into the right level. And then this one about, do you feel you need this job or do you want this job? I think it's a very tricky way of wanting to find out from your side, is it something where it's a need or a want? And I would say it's slightly unfair, but it's also the same as, why should we not hire you, which is also slightly unfair. But the nice thing about it is that if somebody says, do you feel you need this job? Needing the job means that you can walk away. It's like, it's a need. No, I mean, wanting the job means you can walk away. Needing the job means, this is all I've got. I need this to survive. And I think it's sometimes very important to make sure that, number one, you remember what the ladies have just said now, to say, understand your need to change the job. Why do you need to change the job? And that's when it actually allows you to then easily say, listen, the reason why I want to change my job, and you don't have to say, I need the job. Don't use that words. Um, Move away from the words that they've used and just say, the reason I've applied for this job is because based on what I need to develop and based on where I think the company might be able to take me, this will be the perfect role to run with. You understand? So you're no longer talking about the need and the want, because they're putting you in that trap that gives you the thing to say, are you going to use the need or want? And then you leave and you're like, no, I need the job. And they're like, yeah, too needy, we don't want it. Or you say want, like, no, it doesn't need this job. So just don't use that word when you answer. Just answer it simply. And then Eric Fangils, Eric and I come a very long way from a previous employer. When it comes to negotiating salary, he says, for a lot of you guys that are using agencies, for example, the agent normally will negotiate that salary for you. And I see there was a follow-up comment that Eric had put there as well. So in most cases, you'll find that the agent will go fight that fight for you and say, listen, this is what I need. And in-house recruitment, your recruiter will be the one that sometimes will go and fight the fight for you to say, listen, I don't think this is actually what we should be offering this person. So we're going to run through some of these because we literally left with 7 minutes. Okay, so this one I think we did with Kia. What was interesting though about Kia was when we asked you, tell us a bit about yourself. You've covered both personal, work, and development. Do you want to tell people why you decided to do it that way?
Yeah, because I think the reason why I covered it that way was to quickly just tell you who I am in a nutshell and quickly, give you a highlight of my experience and, where I want to go. For me, every time I interview and I hear that from candidates, I get so excited because already I have an idea briefly of what the person is all about. So yeah, that's the reason why I tried to just cover that. But obviously not going, taking forever to answer that question, because sometimes you can really take over 15 minutes trying to explain who you are, your family, your kids, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, okay. And then there was a question about dress code. I'll put it back to Kia. You dressed up for this session.
Yes.
Why? Why is dress code important even for virtual interviews?
Because Tshidi, I'm a brand, at the end of the day, you need to sell yourself.
Come on. Yes, girl.
You don't even have to say anything, Kia. Like, I think there's no better way of answering that. It's like,
drop mic.
Drop mic. I'm a brand. Boom. Like, that is the that is what's important.
Well done.
You only have that one opportunity. You only have that one opportunity to sell yourself, and this is me. I'm a brand. I'm selling myself, and I take my work very serious.
I'm killing. Nombu, you want to just quickly? I know we've got 5 minutes. Strengths and weaknesses. We can just jump into that. How do you normally deal with that one?
Yes, love this question. Strengths and weaknesses. You need to understand yourself as a person, because if I'm sitting on the other side and I'm interviewing you and I'm asking you about your weaknesses, it's not because I'm looking for reasons why I shouldn't employ you. It's because I'm looking to understand whether you know what your shortfalls are, what your development areas are. Because I think sometimes as people, we don't want to we think we're criticizing ourselves if we feel like we have any development areas, but it's also so good to speak about them openly so that the potential employer understands that you know where your shortcomings are, and they also then get to understand very well as to how they need to support you to make sure that they close that particular gap. So always know what your strengths and your weaknesses are. Strengths, of course, you need to definitely know what your strengths are, because that's what you're going to be bringing onto the table should you be successful for that particular role. So both are very important. When preparing for interviews, you need to know what those are very well and be able to articulate them.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I see Eric is helping us also with some of the answers. Thank you so much, Eric, for that. Just check out some of the comments, guys. Some of the guys are commenting there. And then there was a question about psychometrics test. Do you have the right to find out exactly what competencies they're testing out for? Can you call or email to clarify if the email is not comprehensive enough? You can ask, but it doesn't matter whether you ask or not. Psychometrics it's the one thing where it's almost like a black hole that even if you try to understand what competencies they're trying to test for, unfortunately, the interpretation of that is also very important by the company. So be careful that you don't try and find out what the competencies they're testing for, and then only to then try and go beat the system, because then the system will beat you. So be very, very careful. And then there was another question that says, can psychometrics be a determining factor for final stages? The answer is yes and no, because in most cases you'll find that psychometrics play about 30% of the overall amount. So it's not. I haven't heard anybody saying 100% psychometrics alone, because if that was the case, we wouldn't even interview you. We'll just say, hey, listen, Sylvanus, we're sending you straight to psychometrics. If you fail them, we're not even going to talk to you. So they actually normally count to about 30%, which is where it needs to. So I need to see if I'm missing out on some of the questions. And then there's also another one, nice one, where it says, Michael, from Tia's answer, it seems like you give your name, brief, personal. Fantastic. You see, I love it when you guys help each other, because that's what we want to see if when this thing happens. And then there's another one, Makalo says, if one has taken a pay cut due to the tough economic times, COVID-19, how do you negotiate salary with a potential employer in the future? Because the company is usually asked for your current pay slip. So here's the nice thing, Makalo. The nice thing about that is you can right now still collect all your pay slips for the last 6 months. You can even all your pay slip for the last 12 months. And it's easier to say to guys, listen, this was my salary cut, but because of COVID, this is what I used to earn. And I'm hoping that I'll go back to where I was. Simple, and then it helps you with anything else. Anything, guys, that you guys want to answer while I'm still, anything that you want to throw in there?
I think we covered a lot, hey?
Yeah,
Nombu,
I think
anything
yeah.
that you need to add on?
I think maybe just to add on to the conversation, preparing is the best policy. You're as good as your first interview. So prepare. I found that sometimes we get stuck in the whole, but I know my job, back and forth, and then we find ourselves not preparing enough. So preparation is so key. And I always advise people that when you're preparing for questions, you don't know what the panel is going to throw at you. So look at the spec that you've been sent, find out as many details as you can that may not be on the spec from the person that initially engaged with you about the role. And when you're preparing, almost ask yourself questions based on the responsibilities expected from that particular role, even if it means that you ask yourself scenario-based questions on each and every point on those responsibilities listed on that job spec. You'd rather want to be over-prepared than under-prepared, but it's so important that you go through that job spec in detail. And just to maybe give an example on that one, I mean, I had a couple of interviews today where I spoke to some candidates, and there were some questions that they struggled to answer. But when you go back to the job spec, it's clearly stated there. And if they really went through the job spec in detail, they would have been able to answer those questions very easily. So prepare.
Fantastic. So, ladies, where can people find you? Which platforms can they find you? Where are you available? How do people get hold of you to continue asking more and more questions? Maybe we'll start with our lovely guest, Kia.
LinkedIn. For me, I'm available on LinkedIn. You can pop me an email, an inbox. I'm always happy to help. that's pretty much that.
I hope we'll have like 100 invites in the next hour for Kia. Where can you find
Same as Gia. On LinkedIn, I think that's the best platform to interact on. So definitely on LinkedIn, inbox me and we can chat. I did actually receive a couple more questions after our last session, which was great. I'm still trying to get through some of them. But yeah, if you can just pop me an email, then I'll take it from there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, ladies. Once again, please don't forget to go check out our YouTube video. So it's Tshidi's Top of the Morning. Or even if you just search for Top of the Morning with Tshidi, you'll find that. And we will make sure that we keep on doing this. It's Women's Month. And next week, we're having an amazing session about property. So Nombu's got some amazing ladies that are going to be helping us understand what on earth to do around this time. So look out for that invite, guys. We'll send it out to all of you guys. And we're probably going to do around this time because as I can see, you know, we've had 29 or 40 people on YouTube that are following. We've got more than 60 people that are following us on LinkedIn. So we'll try and do it around the time that you guys have said works best for you. So in the next week, we'll be having that about property. So if you have questions about, is it the right time to buy a house? Is it not the right time to buy a house? Please feel free to come and ask us those questions. And once again, this is Tshidi, Top of the... Fantastic. I just have to throw that in there. Like there's a nice little amazing video that kicks in. Until we see you guys again, Nombu, Kia, and I are probably going to keep on coming back to your screens as often as possible. Thank you very much for giving us your hour. Thank you very much for running away from the family for now and running away from dinner. I think you guys can go back, and thank you for absolutely being awesome and being there for all of us. We will see you at the next.
Yay, thank you so much, guys.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Sure.
Cheers. Bye.